Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday, January 30th. We got a lot to talk about today live on the Brandon Mason Show. If you take a look at the hit list right now, you got Mahomes, Zay Flowers, Giants, Jets, Aaron Rodgers, NFL, NCAA, Antonio Brown, Belichick, and what happened with Kanye West. There's a lot to talk about today, but first we're going to dive right into a lot that happened. I hope all of you had a great night last night. I'm based in Miami. A lot going on. The heat wave came through, and now it's cold again. It feels really good, and I got my red sport coat on just for you, live red and ready to go. So let's dive right into Mahomes. And listen, the GOAT conversation. Everyone's talking right now about, okay, is Patrick Mahomes anywhere near Tom Brady? And people literally are getting on the internet right now saying, Patrick Mahomes has surpassed Tom Brady. Now, every day I get in there and I say, oh, yeah, you know, he's the GOAT. He's the main event. Yeah, he's the current GOAT. Not so fast. Let's not jump right past Tom Brady, you know, just because he's had some good success. And people are like, yeah, but look what he's done. And I got the notes right here in front of me. Patrick Mahomes is 28 years old. Okay, we're talking 28,424 passing yards, 219 touchdowns, 63 interceptions, 7 years in the league, and he's got 2 Super Bowls. But let's compare him to Tom Brady real quick. Tom Brady, 46 years old, 89,000 passing yards, 89,214 to be exact, 649 touchdowns. Okay, to Patrick Mahomes, 219. Let's keep that real. 212 interceptions, 23 years in the National Football League, and 7 Super Bowls. Now, here's the thing. When you compare them, I compare their gameplay. I compare how Patrick Mahomes plays. I compare how Brady played the game. The current GOAT is Patrick Mahomes, but during Tom Brady's stint, obviously in the NFL, he was the greatest, and he will remain the greatest for a very long time. It's not because he's athletic. It's not because he can run. It's not because his skill set of scrambling outside the pocket. And that's why Patrick Mahomes has a great dynamic that supposedly, obviously, well, let's say this, Tom Brady didn't have. But supposedly that's what makes him gifted and better than Tom Brady. But let's not, put the cart before the horse. Let's not jump into that and say, Patrick Mahomes is so much better than Tom Brady. Everybody's starting to talk about that. To me, it's a lot of chat. Why? Because this year, Patrick Mahomes has to get a Super Bowl. On top of that, he has to get another Super Bowl and continue that success. Can he go down that road? Yes. When I compare these two, and listen, let me tell you something. I love watching these two play. Obviously, Tom Brady is no longer there. But it was great to watch the man step aside and now prepare to become an announcer. Watching him come into play and be able to speak to the world and give his opinions and thoughts is probably more important than most people talking, because he ran a great offense in New England for a very long time with the Patriots, as you know, left the Patriots, and then he goes down to Tampa and wins another Super Bowl. And people are like, oh, wow. So we have a lot to talk about, and as we head into Aaron Rodgers' conversation too, but Tom Brady did not go to Tampa and then just fall over. It wasn't like he went down there and didn't lead his team into another Super Bowl, which is pretty crazy. But I got to tell you something. Getting ready and preparing for Mahomes to play against the 49ers in the Super Bowl this year is very interesting for several reasons. Because let's just say this. Patrick Mahomes is ready to go. Travis Kelce is ready to go. Pacheco is ready to go. Pacheco has some injuries, but he's played well. He's ready to go. But let's take a look at this. Some injuries obviously came up with the Chiefs. That's going to be very interesting. But they're playing the 49ers. Brock Purdy is playing phenomenal. Brock Purdy is playing lights out. And Brock Purdy has Christian McCaffrey. He's got Deebo Samuel. He's got Kittle. He's got a defense line with, he's got, defensive ends, Chase Young. He's got Nick Bosa. I mean, they have an exceptional defense. So Mahomes has to actually get past this Super Bowl to even have that conversation. Is he the current GOAT? Yes. So if you're joining us right now for the first time, you're looking at it going, what are we talking about? Don't be scared to comment in the chat. I know a lot of people come in here and they don't say anything. Candy, I appreciate you. Good morning. If you're watching this right now, I'll put a little message in here for people to actually put. Let me put a poll for you so we can have it correct. Chiefs versus 49ers. Bang. Let's see who you got. Chiefs, and I'm going to put 49ers, and then people can start their poll like we had it yesterday to see what's going on. There's the current poll. If you're in chat right now, put where you're from, put where you're at. Don't be scared to type as we start to communicate live with more of the people that come into our show. But let's move on to the next topic because I got to tell you something. Zay Flowers, this man is extremely hurt right now. And he said, I'm going to move forward. But he caught a pass running into the end zone, right? And just didn't make it. He fumbled the ball against the Chiefs. Chiefs recovered, touchback. And Zay Flowers had it on his back for a while. And who's there consulting him? Odell Beckham Jr., a veteran, a guy who's been there for a long time. Didn't do that much in the game, which was kind of surprising because, hey, that's one of their quote-unquote best receivers, star talent. They cited some big money. But he wasn't really active in the game. I think Odell Beckham Jr. didn't get enough highlight reel in that game to help the Ravens out. And obviously, Lamar Jackson had that conversation yesterday where Lamar Jackson didn't use his legs. And I explained this to people. I'm like, yeah, I understand. They want him to be more of a pocket passer. They want to be healthy and happy and safe and not get hit. And I get that, and that's great. And that's how it should be for 99% of the National Football League. Your Peyton Mannings, your Tom Brady's, if you watch your Joe Burrows, all these guys that are playing quarterback. But even guys, and I said this yesterday, like Brock Purdy, are scrambling for first downs. The Ravens failed to use Lamar Jackson the right way. Now, did they give him the open reins and he chose not to? It's a question. But if they did, he went back and had plenty of opportunities to run the football. He didn't do it, and that was a big reason why the Ravens lost their momentum. And on top of that, Odell Beckham Jr. was not a big part of that. Mark Andrews played, and he was came in. He was a backbone to that offense for a long time, came in, was hurt early on the season, and didn't get a chance to do his thing as much either. But hey, that's neither here or there. But let's move on to the Giants and the Jets because, listen, the New York Giants and the Jets have been miserable for a very, very, very long time, it feels like. If you are a Giants fan, the best thing you could talk about now for a while is Saquon Barkley. He is one of the rare people, if you want to say, running backs in the National Football League that still had a great season, but he played for a terrible team this year. They gave Daniel Jones so much money. Okay, let me say this again. The New York Giants gave Daniel Jones so much money and left Saquon Barkley. Hey, look, we're going to tag you. They showed him love. We're going to franchise tag you. We're going to keep you here. We want you here. But they left it open for conversation, for people to come in and negotiate. No one really stepped up to the plate and make it happen. But Saquon Barkley with the Giants, they've been miserable for years. And speaking of Odell Beckham, a few minutes ago, he was the last time the Giants really had a lot to talk about. That was when he was in his prime. That's when the Giants were more in their prime, played well a few years ago. A few years ago. It's been a long time now the Giants won a Super Bowl. But it seems like they need to get back on track. They really got to get back on track, and it's not just going to be one position. There's a lot going on there. And then let's speak of the Jets. What's going to happen with the New York Jets? Okay, and we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, but the New York Jets have been so bad. So bad. And then it was, okay, who's going to be your starting quarterback, right? Who's going to actually play? Because it was like, yeah, let's put Wilson in the game. He's playing. Okay, he's pretty good. Oh, no, he sucks. Benched. Then they bring another quarterback in. Okay, he's playing. Okay, you're benched. Okay, you're back in the game. They can't continue to have an operation like that. An organization can't continue to move players around, especially at the quarterback position. If a running back fumbles, you could bench him for a couple series, bring him back in the game. Get your head out of your ass, get back in the game. At the quarterback position, you can't bench your quarterback and then in the second half be like, you know what? You're back in the game. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And speaking of that, it's like Aaron Rodgers. Is he going to come back and play? Right? That's a conversation that people want to know right now. And we'll get to that part in a second right there because I got a funny piece of clip and conversation for you right there. Just want to show you a little clip of what Antonio Brown was doing before. But Well, Aaron Rodgers come back in the game. Well, now people are like, he's back. He's coming back. We're giving him the money. And they also talk about their coaching staff. Don't want to lose their coaching staff. Let's keep Aaron Rodgers. We love him. He's great. He's gifted. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers sells tickets. I hate to break it to people. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is great. He's been great for a long time. Now, he's not compared to other players. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Peyton Manning. He's a lot of other quarterbacks that are way above his caliber because he wasn't winning Super Bowls. Yeah, he's got there. Yeah, he's won. He's played great. But you can't put that S on Super Bowls where he's running around and winning these games. He made a lot of money in Green Bay. They loved him at Lambeau Field. He was great when he left, right? When he left, and then all of a sudden Jordan Love took over, it was like, oh, we lost our guy. And now they're believing in Jordan Love, which is great. But Aaron Rodgers is with the Jets, and who knows what's going to happen with this? He's just getting older. I'm not knocking Aaron Rodgers. He's a great player, but he's getting older. How long can, the Jets really believe that Aaron Rodgers is going to be their guy? I mean, here's the thing. He's selling tickets. He's selling morale. He's selling camaraderie, right? The word camaraderie might not be spot on, but I can tell you this, selling tickets and morale and hype is right up Aaron Rodgers' alley. Because what he's doing is the whole, the city, New York, and obviously Giant Stadium is in New Jersey. A lot of people don't know that, but the New York Jets and New York Giants play in New Jersey. So all of New Jersey, a lot of the city right across the bridge, they love the Jets. They love the Giants. And when they saw Aaron Rodgers, they said, oh yeah, let's go. First play, Aaron Rodgers is hurt. So at the end of the day, the moral of the story and the conversation should be, how long can Aaron Rodgers put up this hope and this dream and this fantasy world of not reality? Because he's not going to be there long. The Jets need to have a quarterback that's going to come in after Aaron Rodgers. Kind of like what Jordan Love did. Learn a little bit, be there for a year or two, stay behind Aaron Rodgers, get a chance to feel the energy, understand the game plan, understand the offense, understand your roster, your coaches, understand your city. If you're from the South, you get to the North and it's cold, whatever the case may be. Aaron Rodgers has to prepare that next quarterback to come into the game because he won't be there forever. And the Jets have to start looking for their second option. And Wilson is not the option. He's not the guy. He's leaving. So at the end of the day, will the Jets continue to ride on the coattails of Aaron Rodgers? Will they be good this season? Will they win games this season? Right? That's a big question. Vince, good to have you in there. Appreciate you calling anytime. You just call the number there on the screen. As soon as you call in, we'll welcome you into the live. And people that are coming in now, if you're watching, don't be scared to comment and in the chat here. If you're in here right now and you're watching, put where you're from. Put the city you're from. I want to see where you guys are at as we get ready to expand this network. And so all the marketing and PR. And let's move on really quick to the next conversation here. And I apologize for that. Let's move on to the conversation with the NCAA and the NFL. What's really going on right now with the NFL and the NCAA? Because what's the difference, basically? What's happening with the players? What's going on with, how does it work? Well, the NFL was made up where you can trade around. You're getting paid a lot of money. You go from team to team. Coaches can go. You draft. You pick your pool. There's all these things happening. And back in the day, coaches were like, get your ass in there and play. You didn't have a lot of say-so. Now, players have a lot more say-so, which is cool. It's great in a lot of ways. But it's like, I'm jumping ship. I'm not playing here anymore. I'm out of here. That was the NFL. That was making money. That was a lot of concerns and issues as that started to transpire. But it was the NFL. It was a financial distraction. There was a lot of other issues. All of a sudden, the NCAA now is adapting to that and adopting that. Not just adapting those rules and regulations and being like, okay, now it's about money. It's about being traded around, jumping in the transfer portal. And the problem you have is the NFL has been built for a long time, and it kind of understands the system. A lot of people understand, what's actually going on because it's been there for a long time, and all these money-making people, prima donnas and things like that. People are like, okay, yeah, this guy's not worth it, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 whatever. But the issue and concern now for the NCAA is these are young kids. We're talking guys that get to college football, 18. When I was 17, I graduated high school. You're talking 18 years old, getting in there, and all of a sudden you're making life decisions. When I say life decisions, you literally are choosing the state you're going to, and those are the people you're going to build around. They're the people you're going to meet. They're the hands you're going to shake. Those people are going to help you move forward in life, whether it's going to be, hey, I took this job, this career path. So you have to understand, if you want to one day work on the water or work with boats, all that, you probably want to go south. All the people, especially down in Florida, this is where people, the land of the yachts and the boats and all that, people can introduce you, shake the right hands, do this. If you want to go up north and go to places like Iowa, Michigan, Purdue, all the way across the coast, Wisconsin, Montana, all the way over. You're talking Notre Dame, Penn State even. You're not going to be shaking those hands as much. So in your mind, you're thinking, play football. And I agree with you, play football. But you have to think in your mind as a college student and as a player, where do I want to go to meet people to have those contacts as well? Friendships, all these things matter, relationships. So all these things become distractions. And when you're playing college football, it's like you kind of want to go there and be there for 4 years if you can and build them around the camaraderie, all that around your program. That's kind of what you should be doing. But instead, because of distraction, it's more like the NFL now, you can jump ship. You can literally jump ship and be like, I'm going to go to Nebraska now. Or you know what? My buddy plays at Virginia Tech. They told me about it. They need a running back. I'm going to Virginia Tech. Jump in the transfer portal. Somebody gives you $5,000 or tells you you're going to make a whole bunch of money, and then you're in the transfer portal and you're gone. It's like really, really simple to do nowadays. So I think it's a distraction. I think it's a problem. I love what the portal has done for players that need it. I love players that say, hey, I'm never going to play here. I'm a third string. I can go play over here, jump in the portal. That's a great thing. That's a great thing. Whether you compete or not, you're not going to make, the lineup. You want to go play? Do it. But if you're starting for a team and you lose a game or you lose a championship game or you're not happy, the new coach comes in. There's all these different confusing, things that are happening. It's like jump ship. That's the hard part for college football right now. Speaking of hard part, speaking of distractions, let's move on to Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown is now back at it again. Antonio Brown is now talking smack again on Tom Brady, calling Tom Brady selfish. He's saying, la, 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 all these things. And if you pull up, the clip of Antonio Brown, this is the memory that I have of Antonio Brown. Because, listen, Antonio Brown was great for a long time. I mean, watching with the Steelers was awesome. And then all of a sudden, he had some issues, right? He went to the Patriots, some issues. He follows Tom Brady. People would say Tom Brady gave him another chance, another shot, right? Another shot here to play. And it just didn't work out that well. A lot of people said he had some mental things. Let's go on here. Vince, I see, need the meeting ID. Let me see. Howard, can we let Vince in? Can we let him get into the call here somehow, some way? He's trying to dial in. Vince, I apologize. Sometimes if we have a lot of calls coming or some issues, somebody gets blocked. If you can help Vince somehow, some way, Howard, help him get in there. And Vince, give me 1 second as we continue on the show here. We'll see if we can get you in live to converse back and forth. Oh, the meeting ID. Howard, if you want to put it in the chat for him. So here's the thing about Antonio Brown. I like watching Antonio Brown because he's an entertainer. This guy is pure entertainment. I will buy his jersey, go watch him play because I'm getting my popcorn ready. I'm ready to go watching Antonio Brown. And a lot of people are like, okay, yeah, but he's a showboat and he's a selfish guy. Yeah, I know. Some people are just entertainers like that. Like he sells tickets. And so it's wonderful to watch people like Antonio Brown because the guy is out there and he's giving you all the entertainment you want. Now, I want to watch football. I love watching him score touchdowns, but I also like watching Antonio Brown do Antonio Brown things because it's just funny, it's comedy, it's entertainment for all of us to watch. But now he's throwing shade at Tom Brady, and he's like, Tom Brady, he's a selfish guy, and he obviously was posting pictures of him and his ex-wife, Giselle, on the internet, which was very confusing. Obviously, people are like, what is going on here? So the trust factor from teams even though Antonio Brown wants to come back and play football, the trust factor of NFL teams, of, obviously of players, quote unquote, Tom Brady was a quarterback, opened his doors up, let him stay at his house. And then he's throwing shade. So it's like you have to draw a fine line. But look, if you ask me, I would love to see Antonio Brown play football. Not because, obviously, listen, the guy's a speed guy, runs great routes, has good hands, he's a great player. But then he turns it off and he goes a little quirky. But I got to tell you, if I can get him live on the show, Antonio Brown, once you see this clip, I'm going to send it to your PR team. I would love to have you come on here because you are exciting to watch on the field and off the field as well. But anyway, long story short, we're going to move on to Bill Belichick. We will post a meeting ID. Vince, you can call in here and you could talk live at any time you want now. And I have a lot of other people that we're trying to do as well. Let me see if it gets in here. We'll bring Vince on to the show. And then we'll move on to Bill Belichick in a second here. So Bill Belichick still hasn't found his opportunity, still hasn't found his job. But, it's weird because now it's like, well, I'm going to go work on TV and host with Tom Brady. People are saying. Now, all of a sudden, Bill Belichick might be on TV doing that. So, to me, I think a lot of people turned away from Bill Belichick. I don't know why, but you're talking one of the best coaches of all time, and all of a sudden, Bill Belichick is not, no one wants him there anymore. He had chances to go to the Cowboys, didn't work out. They didn't want him there. Had chances to go to the Falcons. They hired Raheem Morris. They didn't bring him in. Then it was the Chargers. They hired Jim Harbaugh. So obviously no one wants Bill Belichick right now. And if they did, they'd be calling him right now. Let's bring in Vince right now live on the chat, on the call. Let me see what Vince has to say to me right now. Bring him on in. Vince, you there?
I'm here. Pick up, man. What's going on?
What's going on there, bud? I know we were trying to get you back on here. Brent's not on here today. I think there was some concerns with Brent on here because he had some stuff with sports, and he said, I can't have Vince calling here and saying all that crazy shit because if he gets on here saying that, I can't upload that content to my sports caliber. Something like that.
What is he talking about? Now, which one? Remind me again, Brandon. Which one of you guys is the white nerd?
We know who the white nerd is. He's sitting at home right now. He wasn't feeling well, and we're making some changes here on the Brandon Mason Show. We got a lot to talk about, Vince, and I know, I met you years ago, and all of a sudden, I was on the Howard Stern Show.
That's right, Brandon. Brandon was my first client when I went out on my own, and I'll never forget it. He hooked me up with a deli who had a lawsuit. But, Brandon, I will never forget that. But now that I'm much popular than you, I'm here to repay the favor. I'm coming on your show. I'm giving you my time. I know a little bit about sports. Now, if we talk about the quarterback for the Chiefs, is he biracial like you?
So let's pull him up. Patrick Mahomes. I got to tell you something. I think he is, but what was confusing about him is, I got to tell you, he was so quirky. Watching him run around, Vince was like, what the hell? Like, it was almost like he was so uncoordinated.
White, yeah, that's the white part of him. But Brandon, when we went up to Buffalo and we did a lot of training with some of potential clients, one of our partners was black, but he said he had a white wife, and he can always recognize the biracial kids. I know that you are one, but can you also recognize the fact that if he is biracial?
That, Vince, it's funny you said that because a lot of people, being that I'm mixed race, black and white, when I see other people that are mixed, I see it right away. And a lot of people, you're right, they can't tell. They're like, what is that guy? Is he Spanish? Is he from Dominican Republic? And I get it too all the time. I get, are you DR? I get, are you part Italian? And the truth is, because we have so much shit. I mean, white, black, Spanish is one thing, but I'm talking Irish, Italian, German. So yeah, you're right about that. And he is actually biracial.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was. Is his mom black or is his dad black?
His dad.
His dad's black, his mom's white. Okay, that's
his
interesting.
Dad's black, his mom's
so yeah, I'm usually prejudicial when it comes to my quarterbacks, Brandon. And just like my doctors, I want them to be Asian. I don't want a white doctor. I look for that in a quarterback. Now, he's going against a quarterback that is white.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah, can you get any more wider than the name Brock?
Who you got? Who you got in that matchup? 49ers or Chiefs?
You got to go with the 49ers. What is the spread?
I'm taking the 49ers, and I can actually look the spread up for you right now. I'm taking the 49ers
if I had to guess,
as well.
It's probably either pick 'em 49ers -1, -2, or Kansas City -1, -2.
I got it right here for you as we speak while I have you on the line. I got the spread for the Super Bowl is San Francisco -1.5.
Wow, Brandon, see how good I am? I had no idea what it was. I really didn't look it up beforehand. So that makes sense. I wouldn't go with the spread. I would go with the money line. And look, obviously anything could happen. But you believe that San Francisco is going to win this game?
I'm taking the 49ers because I just think that, look, Patrick Mahomes is great. He's the main talent, him and Kelsey. Pacheco obviously didn't play well all last week or whatever. I mean, he didn't play bad. He just didn't get those crazy runs. But I think going into this week, I think that right now everybody, obviously Patrick Mahomes can't go against him. But I think Brock Purdy was really close last year. And this year that he has, Kittle, he's got Deebo Samuel, he's got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they have the offense that I would want heading into the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. And then on defense, they got Chase Young and they got Nick Bosa. So I'm taking the 49ers in the matchup, even though I'm going against Patrick Mahomes.
Do you know where Brock Purdy went to college?
Brock Purdy went to, I just looked that up. I just had that up on my damn screen. Brock Purdy, here you go. Brock Purdy, college. Bang. Brock Purdy, oh, look at this. Iowa State.
Interesting. Yeah, they
but
threw
listen
the ball.
I didn't even have that. For some reason, I was thinking he went somewhere else. It's so funny. But he went to Iowa State. It was kind of like Mr. Irrelevant, right? So he was Mr. Irrelevant.
You know how it is, man. What I love about the NFL, there is no bullshitting your way there. If you got there, you have the skill. And if you're there, you have the skill. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what school you came from. And the NFL in particular, you see a lot of guys that come from smaller schools or random schools. They don't care. And you know best more than anyone else. They will test you. Unless you have it, you will never make it on a team.
You know what? Hey, Vince, so let's talk about this for a second. When are we going to connect back to Howard Stern? When am I going back on the Howard Stern show?
I'm going to have you on I'm going to do you a favor, repay the favor that you paid me. I'm going to have you on my show. I'm on live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 noon. Howard Stern right now, Brandon, he's down in Florida. He does a show from a bunker. He doesn't even go to the studio that you went to. He doesn't go there anymore. He has his staff there, but he doesn't go there.
Howard Stern is no longer in New York City?
No, well, his studio is still there. The studio, Brandon went on one of Howard's shows. I got him in with our friend High Pitch Eric, who's still around, by the way. We're going to be hanging out Super Bowl Sunday weekend, Brandon, in Atlantic City. But either way, Howard stays in Florida. He does his show remotely. If he has a guest in studio to interview, he has them in studio and they just do it remotely.
Wow. That's very interesting because I kept thinking about that. I'm like, how are we going to eventually get, back into the studio and talk to Howard Stern and show him? When I got into that compound, I was like, this is what I want to do for a living. Like, I want to have this compound, this setup, and do it. But apparently he left New York because he just didn't want to be cold anymore. Or didn't want to be in New York anymore. Or he doesn't like the politics anymore. Or whatever the case may be.
He's a germaphobe, Brandon. He loves the fact that they had COVID because it gave him the excuse to stay away from everyone. He was always a germaphobe dating back to his childhood. But I'll say this, Brandon. Besides, your bad looks, your skill in broadcasting, the way you present yourself is great. And now all we need to do is promote it. And you're good at promoting, but you have the great fundamentals. I'm not just telling you this. You do. And don't be afraid to have guests on like me that are controversial. Yeah, I'm racist when it comes to my quarterbacks, but I'm still a good person.
Hey, Vince, I love the controversial topics. And I love for people like you to call in and communicate with the live guests. We're going to have guests on the show. And I love for you to call in and talk to them. I think Brent had an issue because he didn't want some of the stuff that he was producing to get put out with He's the founder of My NAL Pay, so he does all this stuff with college players and yada, yada, yada. So he couldn't post some of that to the people and the collectives. He had some conversation. But no, I'm all about having fun and enjoying the conversation. If you call in and there's some controversial topics, which there will be, I love to hear different points inside of it. And I love to get someone else on the show also that can call in to kind of battle that with you with the debates.
Yeah, and I'll come in on video. No, that guy Brent Brandon is an important question. He is living vicariously through his kid, apparently, who wants to be a quarterback. Would you allow your kids to play tackle football when they get a bit older?
Would I allow my kid to play?
Yep.
Yeah, of course. I think, look, at the end of the day, when I played ball and I was obviously running around as a young kid, 5 years old, 6 years old, playing football and then playing tackle football a little bit early. What I'm doing now is I'm making sure that my kids understand all the sports, football, baseball, basketball, and instead of them throwing them in too early, I give them a little bit more of the home coaching, outside, running the obstacles, throwing the ball and doing a bunch of stuff. And then we slowly but surely say, okay, let's get you to the team, let's get you to the practice. When he shows up, he's not for the first time running a drill, right? Like he shows up. Right now, yesterday, I'm passing the ball in my backyard. I got a basketball court and all that back here. So for him, he shows up, he can dribble, he can shoot, he's catching the footballs, he's running through the ladders, like I'm getting him all ready to go. So when I step into the next part, he doesn't have any worries. It's not his first time doing something. I got the tackling dummies here. Like, that is the goal for me. And I want him to be his own individual person. So if he wants to grow up and play football or play baseball or play soccer, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to support him. I'm not going to push him into playing football because that was my sport.
Yeah, Brandon, same thing with my kids. My kids don't know how many home runs the San Francisco 49ers made last week, if you get what I'm saying. He has no idea. And my concern was more, Brandon, the concussions. And do you have that concern if your child wants to play football on a higher level?
Yeah, from a standpoint of the concussions, that's inevitable, Vince. I mean, it's at this point, I wish it was a little better back in the day when people can kind of guide you a little better. I think now more than ever, people have to understand getting to football at this point, it's inevitable, especially if you play running back. If you're on the offensive side of things, you're guaranteed. I mean, running back, tight end, quarterback, it's going to happen. You're playing tackle football. Even as a young age, college, high school, and before that, hits are still a pretty big deal. I don't think that people playing football right now should step into the game unless they understand that is going to be part of the game. There's
so you're
no
willing
way
to put
around it.
You're willing to subject your. Are you going to subject your kid to those potential brain injuries just because you want them to move an inflatable ball up and down a field?
You know what? That's a good question, and I think the answer to that is going to be it's really tough because growing up and being them, you want them to be tough. Growing up playing all sports, you want your kids to understand, and they like football, and they run around and play flag football. And I think that is a very, very honest question, and I think you have to monitor it very closely.
Yeah, I don't think you can use the word flag football on YouTube. I'm not sure.
No, you can't. You can't. I had some shit cut off of my damn
Well, don't
channel.
call it that. Yeah, don't call it that. I think it's called flag football.
Well, listen, Vince, tell me this. I'm going to move on to Kanye West. You tell me what I got to do. We get connected back on your show and back on Howard Stern, and I'll let you go. I'm going to dive in here and talk about Kanye West.
No, don't let me go. I actually sued Kanye West, Brandon. If you ever heard the song Bound to Fall in Love. I've sued Kanye West. The case settled. Remember the song Bound to Fall in Love? Well, if you don't know it, go and look it up. You'll hear a vocalist that was 12 years old. They're doing the vocals, and that's who I represented when I sued Kanye West. And it's a great song. It's called Bound.
Wow. So that leads right into the next topic then. Since you sued Kanye West, right?
That's right.
Well, there's Kanye West.
But why do you have him on here? What is he up to now?
So this is what happened yesterday. Kanye West, now TMZ, there was reported with TMZ. He's walking down, she's in his face, and I get this. If I'm Kanye West, I'm pissed too. Give me that phone.
She's TMZ.
Get it out of my face.
It's okay.
Listen to the interview. Hey, Howard, do we have the interview on volume up?
Yeah, we do.
I don't give a fuck what y'all got to do. What y'all gonna do? What y'all got to say? Don't come at me with that shit. Ask me that. You think you can walk up on me like that? What you think? Cause you a white woman, you can walk up on me like that and ask me some dumb ass shit like that? Ask me, are my wife talking about this shit got free will? Are you crazy? You insane? This is America. You got free will, or you work for the devil? You got free will, you working for TMZ Company? I'm a legend. You understand that? I'm here to support Charlie Wilson. You come and ask me some dumbass shit about my wife. That's my wife. You understand?
Has her free will.
There goes again. Bang.
Here's the issue.
Was that
Here's the issue.
Kanye's fault,
Feel like
though?
it's okay.
Was that
100%.
Kanye West's fault?
Yeah, 100%. Kanye's in the wrong. That's an assault and a battery, Brandon. You cannot grab someone's property. Your phone is considered your body. He also touches her hand. The battery part is when you're touched and you don't want to be touched. I know you probably never had to deal with that with any type of girls, but you cannot touch someone for filming you. You're allowed to film in public. Anywhere in public you can film. Kanye West is in the wrong for that. He can get sued for that. He can even be held criminally liable for that as well.
Whoa. I'm so glad, Vince, I'm so glad we have an attorney on for this conversation. So what
And
you're
I hate
saying
stuff
is,
like this, Brandon. And by the way, I represent, just a quick plug, there's a guy called Eli, the People's Guy. He's a Puerto Rican guy that runs around New York City, and he does the same thing. He films in public. You're allowed to film in public based upon our First Amendment right. So never take that away. We have to take this shit seriously. Someone should not be assaulted and battered just because they're exercising their First Amendment right to film in public.
So at any given time, here's my question to you then, Vince.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you answering this question honestly for us. If Kanye West or anybody is walking down the street, when do you, as a citizen walking down the street, have the right to, when someone gets closer to your face, I'm going to pull it up here closer so people can see me. So you're walking down the street and someone's recording across the street, you have to avoid them. But if somebody's walking next to you, when is it to the point where you can say, move back? Is it when they're like a couple feet away like this? Or is it when, I mean, this is an honest question. How close do they got to get to your face before you can actually do that?
As soon as you feel that you are going to be physically harmed by the person under a reasonable person standard, then you can use physical force. But here, he's not upset about potentially being harmed. He's upset about the actual phone filming him. Now, if that girl sticks the phone in his face and he believes that he is going to be harmed by that, he has every right then to do it. But if you roll it back, it looked like the opposite, where he actually was the aggressor towards her.
She's over there. She's talking to him. Bang.
He's away from him. She's moving away from him. He goes to her. No, that he is in the wrong there. No way a reasonable person is going to believe that he was about to be harmed. He cannot touch her. You are allowed to film anywhere in public. Anywhere. You have no expectation of privacy when you're walking in public.
Wow. So any given time, people watching this, we actually have an attorney on the line that's answering these questions right now. So if you're walking down the street and someone's recording you, even though you feel that you're being disrespected or you feel, unhappy about the situation, you don't want someone to record you or be near you or close to you, you feel like your privacy is being invaded, you cannot touch that person. Even though I understand, hey, back up, why are you asking me these questions? Which he obviously, Vince, he was feeling some kind of way because they asked about his wife. She said, does she have any say-so or yada, yada, yada. And he turns around and kind of gets upset. I'm glad he came back, though, and he's having a conversation like, why are you asking me this? Just because, I'm Kanye West, why are you asking me this? But so what you're saying is, will this be a lawsuit now? Are you saying you believe that the woman from TMZ, will probably sue Kanye West?
I hope she does, because you have to put an end to this type of physical violence, Brandon. You can ask someone virtually anything so long as you're not inciting violence. And his reaction was with physical violence, which is what we protect. We protect people from being physically harmed for no reason. And in this situation, wherever you are, if you're in public, you can be videoed. So don't ever fall for that, because he's in the wrong. He definitely will get sued for that. And most likely he could even be criminally charged. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
Wow.
But he could.
The fact that he came back and talked to her and explained his story and said, come on, like, what's going on? I think that helped him a little bit, instead of yanking it and like slamming the phone and leaving or something like that. But it was like, what about the mask? I mean,
Brandon.
This
I
is
mean,
just-
I'm an artist. You're an artist. He's an artist. That's what he does. I don't care about that. He's obviously asking for attention. Most likely that he didn't receive in childhood. That's perfectly okay. I have no problem with the mask. Now, Brandon, you know that at the Super Bowl, they are going to feature my neighbor, Taylor Swift, who lives down the block from me. And I saw on the news, Brandon, that they just arrested a guy stalking her townhouse here in Lower Manhattan. And I thought maybe it was you, because I know you're a huge Taylor Swift fan, but it wasn't. I mean, because every time I talk to you, you always have Taylor Swift in the background. And now, Brandon, there's got to be odds over under how many times the broadcasts are going to show Taylor Swift. We can look that up as well. And I'm not sure what the number is going to be, but for certain, there will be odds based upon that.
It's it's so funny. They are going to show Taylor Swift in this game so much. They've built the Chiefs franchise now. It is legit. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, and then it's Andy Reid. And then Pacheco's at the end. But literally, Taylor Swift is one of the most important people of the Kansas City Chiefs. But you said she's your neighbor. She lives down the street from you?
That's right.
And so, Vince, then you lived in Midtown, you lived in the same place, then you relocated, or you still live in the same spot?
Yeah, I'm in the same place that you've actually visited me once before. So right down there, downtown Manhattan. She's about maybe 10 or 15 blocks away from me.
Yeah. But your office was in Midtown. You moved your office. So now,
yeah, we're in Midtown.
You moved it nearby.
We're in Times Square, Brandon.
Awesome. Vince, look, it's so glad to have you on here. I'll definitely jump on your show. I appreciate you calling in. I did block out a few of the callers that were calling in right now so I can hear some of that. I really appreciate what you added to me. Thanks for calling in,
Those other callers would have been boring, Brandon. You stick with me.
I appreciate you, buddy. Talk soon. Take care.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Well, you heard it right there. Obviously, Kanye West apparently is in the wrong for it. And I get it. He took her phone, snatched her phone. It was in the wrong for it. But, guys, listen, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned. We have some interviews coming up this week with MMA, guy heading to the UFC. And we also have some guys from the NFL that are looking to jump on to the show in a live broadcast this week. Look forward to talking to you guys. You've seen the hit list. They'll be on here every single day. Live sports and entertainment from 10 to 11-ish, right before, right after. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned. Until next time.